on? Welcome back to Choice Man, everybody. Actually, first of all, you wait. Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And welcome back from your trip.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, everybody, I am back from my trip. And, I can hear you guys going crazy. So thank you very much for the applause. It means a lot. Glad to be back. I've actually been back for a while.
Yeah.
There's a whole show called A Series of Unfortunate Events. My life is more a series of events. Not that they're unfortunate. It's just we don't always have the time we're hoping for to be able to do this, but we're working on it. We're getting a little more dialed in. So there's still probably by the time you guys see this, episode 52 will have come out. So this will be episode 53. So those were both posted relatively around the same time, which is not how it should have been, but that's how it goes. So today's episode, Sam's going to ask me some questions about my recent trip to the East Coast. We'll have dad advice at the end, and we also will probably still reference a couple of announcements that we've already made before, but we'll just talk about those again. So stick around. It should be a fun episode, and we'll get right into it.
Yeah. So, for starters, where were the big places you went? Just so we can get kind of everybody on the same page.
Sure.
East Coast trip, sure, but like where?
Yeah, so we spent a few days in Washington, D.C., mostly around the Washington Mall. So there was, we unfortunately, the White House, we didn't really get to go to the White House. We stood on the outside because they're renovating. So we were on the side where they're doing a bunch of renovations.
Okay.
And they're actually doing a bunch of renovations on the whole property for the 250th celebration.
Oh, nice.
So I think somebody was saying they're a little bit behind on that because it's a lot of work that they're doing. They're ripping up ground. They're fixing a bunch of fountains because there's a bunch of fountains actually on the property, I guess, that haven't worked in a long time. So they're trying to get those back to being operational. So that's cool. We got to go to like the Lincoln Monument, the Jefferson Monument. We went to the World War II monument that's also in the Washington Mall.
Okay.
Well, I guess the Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial. We got to go to the Martin Luther King Memorial as well, which was cool. The first couple days we were there, the cherry blossoms were not in full bloom. But the day that we went to the Martin Luther King, which is right at the basin where the Jefferson Memorial is on the other side, cherry blossoms full bloom. It was a sunny morning. It was gorgeous. And we weren't there very long, but it was great. I got some good pictures. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. At some point, I could probably post pictures on our Facebook page of that with this episode. So I'll link some I'll put some pictures on the Facebook post to reference this podcast episode. So yeah, DC, we spent the most time in DC.
Okay.
And but the problem is DC is like not its own, like it's not actually a state.
Right.
It's a province, but that means that we also got to go to Virginia. It's very close. And so one of the other places though that's I believe in DC, but it's like outside of the monument is the Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. We got to see the changing of the guard. I have video of that. I'm probably not going to post it. But that was fantastic. Some of our students actually got to participate in that. So in the wreath laying ceremony, we had the 4 oldest of each house. So or I guess the oldest of each house when we have 4 houses. So 4 of our students got to participate in that. And we had a wreath that was laid there at Arlington, that is
very cool.
That was really cool. So DC spent the most time, and actually from certain places on that property, you can see like all of the Washington Mall.
Oh, okay.
Which is fantastic. So we also went to the Washington Monument. It's pretty crazy because like you see all these things in pictures and in movies, and you don't really get the same effect. But then when you're there, you're like, wow,
this is really cool.
This is amazing. It's laid out in a cross pattern on purpose. And little side note here, and I will definitely put this picture in because this was pretty impressive. So I have an iPhone 17. It's got great cameras. And it was getting pretty late at night when we were at the Jefferson Memorial. And I was like, I don't know what the shots are going to look like. The places are so lit, they're lit so well on the outside, it looks like I took it with a super expensive camera. But the one, it won't look like a super expensive shot, like super expensive camera, but there's a shot that I have from the Jefferson Memorial to the White House, and it's right across. And the reason that you can see the White House is because when Jefferson was in, he knew that it was being built, and he couldn't see it from the White House. He wanted to see the memorial from the White House. And so one morning, everybody woke up and all the trees that were in front of that area of the White House were gone. They were all cut down. So he had the Secret Service cut down the trees in the middle of the night so he could see the Jefferson Memorial being built. That is the most baller move of all time. And it's really cool. It's a great, the White House then is kind of like a U. It's kind of got like a U shape to it in the frame of the other trees that are still there. It's beautiful. That was probably the most beautiful place overall, just because the cherry blossoms, the water. I mean, we went to the Capitol, we went to the Library of Congress. The ceiling at the Library of Congress is insane. All these buildings are insane. Being in the Capitol is cool. We got to see where the State of the Union address is held, and we also actually got to be there for part of Congress. So
nice.
There was not a lot of people there, though. It was a very, like, most of the people were probably at lunch.
It wasn't like the big official meeting.
Yeah, no. It was a couple people, random things, obituaries, stuff like that.
Okay.
But it was still cool. It was like, hey, this is where stuff happens. So that was cool. And let's see. I mean, we went some other places in DC as well. So we actually ate at a place in DC where right across the road is the theater where Abraham Lincoln was shot.
Oh.
And also, on the side of the street that we're on, about 2 doors down, like from where we were eating, is where they took Lincoln. That's where he died.
Oh, okay.
The next day. But they took him over. It was like a boarding house, and they took him over there. He did not go back to his original house, but like the building is there. It's crazy.
Dang, okay.
That was pretty cool. So it's Ford Theater, and there's actually a bunch of stuff that's owned by the Fords on that street. So
they're just preserving it.
Yeah, and when some of them are like real shops. So like there's like a bank and stuff that's like still operational. And I can't. It's like owned by the Ford Theater Foundation, I think.
Okay.
So like they own a bunch of that block, which makes sense. They're trying to preserve some of the historical parts. And I actually think the theater is still operational, if I remember correctly.
They shows and
I
stuff.
think they still do shows. So that's.
You could sit in the booth where it happened.
I don't know if that is possible, but maybe. We got to go to. This is the problem. It was so much. So like we went to the Smithsonian, which is a collection of museums, obviously. That was really cool. The whole time we were there, I was like, Night Museum, National Treasure, all these places. Like this is super fun. So like we went to the Air and Space, everybody went there, and then you had the option to go to a couple others as you could. So like we went to the National Art Gallery, we went to the Museum of American History, and was that the only 2 that I went to? I think that was the only 2 that I went to. A couple other people went to some other ones. Anything else in DC? I mean, we went to the Holocaust Museum. That was a great museum. I mean, it's a hard museum to go through, but it was a great museum to go through nonetheless. And I feel like I'm missing something, but I also don't know if I'm missing something in DC. But we were there for a couple days. Then we went to Gettysburg. Oh, we also went to the Pentagon.
Oh, okay.
So we went to the Pentagon Memorial, which that's also the way that that's designed is really cool. So if you were on the plane that hit it, because it was a passenger plane, if you're on the plane, your monument is facing a different direction. And if you were in the building and died, your monument is facing a different direction. So you can then see, and it's all by age. So the youngest person all the way up to the oldest person, and they just have big lines of like sweeping things. It's immersive, and we got to be there at night when it was all dark, and that was cool. But you know, it's heavy. I mean, Arlington still probably was the heaviest because there's just so many, there's so many graves. I mean, I got to go to France. I obviously got to see the American soil on French soil. That was cool. But the Normandy Memorial, or is it Normandy Cemetery? What is it called?
I can't remember.
Either way,
The,
it's got all the American soldiers
Yeah.
that died there, and that one. Some of the importance of that is like it's right there. Arlington, that's not where people died.
right.
That's where they've been brought. It's very specific how you get there, like in terms of.
Like wrapped in the flag, or is there like other?
No, I mean like the qualifications for being buried
Oh,
there
okay.
is pretty high. So, anyways, there's obviously some cool things about the Normandy one in terms of like it's there and you're in France, but it's like you are on American soil. Like the feeling of that is so evident the moment you pull in the parking lot. The parking lot is
Right.
different
Parking
because
lot is
Americans
American.
designed it. It is way better, and all the amenities, everything is American there.
Yeah.
And
There's paper towels.
there's paper towels. That was a big one. What are these? What are some other features? I mean, Arlington is just so much bigger. There's so many more people there. It's so overwhelming.
Are they still adding more
Oh, yeah.
to it?
Yeah. I can't remember how many acres it is, but it's ridiculous. They have like 500 employees altogether because it's run by the government's. It's run by the army.
Yeah.
So the army manages the whole place, which means there's like 300 government officials like that work there, like government workers, and then there's like 200 contracted workers that I think are probably the ones that do landscape and stuff like that.
The ground and all that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the JFK memorial that they have at Arlington, that the eternal flame, and there's a couple eternal flames. There's an eternal flame at the MLK, which I didn't see, and then there's another one somewhere else. But the one, so the idea of eternal flame, well, you're like, how would you do that? How would you have an eternal flame going?
It's more butane.
It's only ever gone out twice.
Okay.
One time was because there was a technical issue, like within the first 2 days of it opening, and they had to fix that. But it was like within like 5 minutes, they had it back, and then it was on. And then kids were trying to honor that one time, and they were like sprinkling like holy water on the grave.
Oh, and accidentally put it out.
Accidentally put it out. They got it back again within a couple minutes. But because you have to do maintenance on it. So what happens is they transfer the flame over to another thing that's still in the hole where the flame's coming out of. So you still have the flame while they do maintenance on the actual one. And then they just swap the flame back onto that, and it's still going.
Still going.
So that's like how they change out the gas for the main one is they put it on another one, and then there's still a flame going at all times as best they can.
Dang.
So it's really only ever gone out twice, which is crazy. So I mean, that's a pretty big chunk of DC.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what we covered. The Museum of the Bible. We also got to go there.
Okay.
The immersive walkthrough that they have of the Old Testament, it's insane.
Okay.
It is ridiculous. And it's mostly Exodus. That's mostly what that's the big chunk of what they have. But they have so many projectors. They have so many lights. It's crazy. The projector each is like $20K each. They had to have had over 40 of them.
Okay.
I mean, it was so immersive. That was really cool. Like, I want to go back and do that again just for that experience.
Right.
And it was impactful. Like, it's like it's kind of hard to explain until you get there. I got to subtle flex. I will also put a picture of this. I got to use a Gutenberg press. I got to use
Get to rearrange all
the press.
letters and
And I can't remember if it's the actual one, but it's like from that time period. I got to use an actual one. So like the lady was demonstrating, and then it's clear like this is what she does, but like she gets a volunteer. I was standing right there. I got picked to be the volunteer. It's really difficult to get it all the way down. It's way harder than you think.
Crank it, right?
So she pushes it a little bit, and you have to push it the rest of the way. Like, I'm pretty strong. I had to put my whole body into it to get it all the way to the thing. Like, it's a lot of effort, but like also it's way faster than having to write out everything. But that was a cool demonstration at the Museum of the Bible. So that's DC. Then we got to go to Gettysburg, and we spent 2 days in Gettysburg because In Gettysburg, you have so the actual area where some of the fighting was is a museum, but people live there. People actually still live on the grounds of that. There's a couple houses that aren't, but that are original houses
Okay.
from the Civil War. It's actually really cool because there's a statue of General E. Lee on his horse looking out. And the point, I mean, it's a memorial. Like there's a bunch of memorials spread out through the property and it's where those dudes actually died lots of times because they're compadres who were still alive. They ended up actually being able to tell the guys when they were making it, hey, here's where this guy died. We got to put it right here, which is impactful. But so one of the things about the Civil War, particularly on that day that we were referencing, I can't remember. It was like the 3-day fight. I think that's with Pickett's charge ultimately ending that.
Yeah.
When you're looking out at the field, so because when they did the fishhook, when that was the move, and Ely thought he had him because he couldn't see him, and he couldn't actually see the layout of the land. The land looks completely flat out as you go. Dude, when you start driving through though, and you're like, I can't see on the other side. He could see across the tops of all the hills, but there's actually a bunch of ravines that go down, and all of the guys, you can march all 10,000 guys right through there, and nobody would know you were there.
Right.
So he totally got blindsided because he didn't know the layout of the land. And this is the kind of thing. It's like, dude, this is because like American warfare is to know your land better than your enemy.
Right.
So if you own property, you should know your property better than the enemy could.
Right.
So that was cool to kind of, because like you read about it in the books, you're like, yeah, why wouldn't you know that? And then you go to see it, you're like, well, that's why he wouldn't know that there were people there, is because you can't see down into that.
You wouldn't know.
Right, you would not be able to tell. Then it's because it's a automotive tour. So we were on the bus and we'd get out every once in a while. We drove all the way up to the top where I think that's where Pickett's charge was. And you get to stand on some rocks and look out over Gettysburg. That was beautiful. It was golden hour, gorgeous. I mean, there were clouds, but like, it was like mostly not clouds. It was fantastic. And just kind of seeing, like, trying to close your eyes or at least look out and envision
Like the scale of it all.
the scale, and like imagining guys killing each other out there over, like, legitimately, they might be neighbors and they legitimately think that the other neighbor is wrong, and they're still like friends. I mean, and that's the stories like you hear, is like the guys would be done fighting for the day and they still like they're friends with each other, but it's like, I just can't be on your side about this.
Well, and some of them, like, when they're like, oh, I see Billy over there. I can't fight in this one, guys. Sorry.
Right, because it's like, I don't want to kill my friend.
Yeah.
But there were totally friends who ended up killing friends, and that's, it's, there's some weight to that. Anyways, the next day we went to the Gettysburg Museum. The Gettysburg Museum's pretty cool. You get to walk through, you get to see some stuff. See some like old flags or uniforms or stuff they found, things like that. And like they keep finding stuff out there. Like they haven't found everything because, hello, it's been a while.
And people still live there.
And people still live there. So like they do some excavation every once in a while and they'll find things, but like they have a bunch of stuff. And then you get to watch like a movie inside of like their theater area.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool. But dude, the cyclorama, which is a massive circular painting. In fact, let me look it up. The Gettysburg cyclorama stats. It is crazy. So the Gettysburg cyclorama is a massive 360-degree oil painting created by French artist Paul Philatapu I butchered that, so you can look it up yourself. In 1883, it measures approximately 42 feet high
Okay.
by 377 feet in circumference.
377 feet in circumference. Holy smokes.
Yeah. It's more than a football field.
Yeah, 300,
Wrapped around you.
300 more feet, and he would have been 1/5 of a mile.
Yeah. Depicting the final charge of Pickett's charge from the Battle of Gettysburg. The artwork features a 3D diorama foreground. So you stand up on like a platform, and then you see some diorama things laid out.
Oh, okay.
and then it's the painting. It looks surprisingly
Like
realistic.
kind of there.
Yes.
In a sense.
The artwork features a 3D diorama foreground and underwent a major $13 million restoration completed in 2008.
Dang.
So it took them a year and a half to finish. That's crazy. That feels, when you're there, you're like, how did you get that done in a year and a half?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel. Like
Yeah.
how long did it take him?
So the estimated weight varies. So some sources say it's 3 tons. Some sources say it's 12.5 tons. So it's multiple sections that have been stitched together. There's only one spot, and it takes the guy to point it out to you. There's only one spot where you can actually see a seam. Like they did a very good job of trying to patch it up.
Oh, okay.
There's only one spot where you can visibly actually kind of like see a crease.
But you really have to be looking for
You have to really be looking for it. But it's multiple sections that have been stitched together. You cannot really see the seams at all.
Interesting.
That was... So the painting is kept under strictly controlled lighting and environmental conditions to protect the historic canvas. I mean, dude,
Makes
everywhere how did I forget that? We went to the National Archives building.
Oh, okay.
Could see the Declaration, which BTW. Go watch National Treasure, and then go there, and you'll be like, wait a second, this is the wrong room. Because the other room's way more lit. This is because it used to be way more lit. They used to have way more light in that room. The Declaration has faded so much over like the last 10 years, you could barely read it anymore. So they had to like basically make the room dark.
Yeah.
And because the Constitution's still holding up a little bit, Bill of Rights also still holding up, but it's not great. The Declaration is really faded.
I mean, because like the Bayeux Tapestry,
It's completely dark, other than the
years.
couple lights that they have in the thing.
Yeah.
But it is actually still the same room. So if you go back and you look, it's not the one. I always like, they're always looking in the center. They're not looking in the center. The Declaration is not the one in the center. It's the Constitution. It's off to the right. If you're looking at the Constitution, it's off to the right. And then the Bill of Rights is over on the
left side.
On the left side. But it's pretty cool, dude. Being able to see that and like, I mean, being in the building, I don't know, it was cool because like you get to walk up the steps. It's just all these film things that you get to actually experience yourself is really cool. We got to go to Philadelphia. Got to go to Independence Hall, guys.
That's where the
Sam, I'm going to ask you a question.
Is that where the bell is?
Technically, no.
Oh, okay.
So the Liberty Bell is actually all by itself in its own museum, right next to it.
It used to be there.
It used to be up there, and that's why in the National Treasure movie, he's like, oh, idiot. He's like, what? And he's like, no, not you, me. It's not up there. It's over there. Because the Liberty Bell is actually just on a display case in a thing, and they're actually renovating that anyway. There is a bell up in the tower, but it's a different one. So it's not the one that was passed in Stowe. It's a different thing. Anyways, Sam, do you know what that place is actually called, though?
The Independence Hall? Like
Yeah.
what it's actually called?
Yeah, do you know what that place actually is? This is mostly just kind of a flex.
Well,
wasn't
it where they signed the Declaration of Independence?
Well, yeah, but like what the actual building is called.
Oh, no, I don't.
So it used to be called, and because it is, Pennsylvania State House.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's set up with a courtroom, because it's a courtroom. And there's another room, and that's where they signed. They have everything laid out like they think it was. I mean, it's really cool to be in there because you're like, dude, there's no way. Like, guys were in here signing it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see. And like the guy clearly loves his job. He was explaining to all of us like what, like what's going on there and how much stuff there is and like how it would have gone down. He was explaining some of the problems. He was showing like what lots of people think happened. And he's like, this is not actually what happened. What the original Declaration actually looked like was not supposed to be given to anybody.
It's just a piece of paper.
It was a piece of paper, and it actually wasn't supposed to, nobody else was supposed to see it. It was just for them. It actually was not for everybody else. There's a printed version, and we have the printed version, and then copies of it. That's actually what people would have seen. Not the one with all the signatures. That was for them. It got put in a box. And then it ended up going on display later because guys were like, hey, this is pretty important. But it did not originally, like the National Archives building is not like, oh, it immediately got put there with that technology. It was in a box because it was just for them.
Right.
It was a file. which is funny because like you think about all this stuff now, and you're
Right.
like, "Oh, this stuff's very important. It's very important documents." You're like, "Well, it is very important documents," and they thought it was files. Like they were running
Right.
a country. They needed a place to put the paper. So that was cool. We saw George Washington's chair.
Okay.
That was cool. Oh, I'm sorry. How could I not mention that?
Is it made out
We
of cherry wood?
Pockful. We went to Mount Vernon,
Yep.
not the Mount Vernon, Washington. We went to the Mount Vernon
George
of George
Washington's house.
Washington. Yeah, and that place was dope. The property, it's interesting. So Blenheim Palace, which is 2,000 acres
Mhm.
in the UK, feels very nice, very proper, and the grounds are just immaculate. It's a golf course. It's not a golf course, but it is. Like that's how it's kept up. It looks like Augusta National in terms of how pristine it is. Mount Vernon, like Mr. Sars pointed out, he was like, yeah, it feels very American. Like it feels like he would have, if he could have access to a four-wheeler, he would have had four-wheelers. He would have been ripping around the property.
Mhm.
But he's got like a farm area down below. It used to be 8,000 acres. But now,
8,000 acres.
right. So a foundation owns all of that though, and they've kind of like marketed it out to some other things. There's like 640 acres of main property though. It's awesome. We got to walk a decent amount of it. I mean, not like we did not go all 640 acres, but like you go down, they've got a pier that like part of that would have been there.
Is it on a lake or is it like a?
It's on the Potomac River.
Oh, okay.
No, is it Potomac? Some other river. It might have been the Potomac. I can't remember, but it's on the river.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a super wide river.
Mhm.
It looks like it's massive. So that was cool. There's a guy that they have there who portrays George Washington, and me and Xander got a picture with him. I'll put that in the Facebook post. However, I did not get to, and he like supposed to talk in character. So me and Xander thought, well, we really should have done our missed opportunity. So if we ever go back, I'm going to ask this guy this question. I'm going to be like, so what's the deal with all the slaves? Because I want to see how they would have him portray that. Because they had another lady.
Mhm.
Okay, so the whole family situation that George Washington did.
Right.
The guy lived a crazy life, and he had a bunch of crazy trials, and like they lost a lot of kids, and it was brutal.
Oh yeah.
There was a granddaughter of somebody else that lived there that was like family.
Mhm.
They have a lady who acts as her in a room where she answers questions. Silas Black asked, so because there was like some family connection to the Civil War, and she acted like, "What's the Civil War? We're gonna have a Civil War? That's terrible." And it was pretty funny. She did a good job staying in character. But they have a bunch of like little explanations of like what happened and like where the slaves would have stayed and all the stuff. You got to go in the rooms, you got to see the beds. Like,
Yeah.
dude, place was awesome. Quick story: George Washington's dining room is green. Okay, there was. I mean, it looks a little funny. Like I don't think I'd paint my kitchen that color. But so George Washington, that house, Mount Vernon did not look like that originally. Mount Vernon actually was a really small house on some land.
Probably.
That was it. There was no other shops. That was it. And it was gifted to him by a family member. I think it was his uncle, because like he, for whatever reason, his brother didn't get it, so it was him. Now, George Washington, by the time that he started adding additions to it, he was the most famous person in America
Mhm.
and the richest person in America. So he was like, well, let's make this a pretty nice house. The house is not actually that big. They have a bunch of other little tiny houses and tiny little shops, and like the kitchen's out of the house. Everything's out of the house. It's pretty cool. The reason the kitchen is green is because he had so much money that he wanted to flex on all the people who were coming by painting the kitchen green, the dining room green, because
Green.
one, he thought it helped digest, and two, because there was so much iron in green paint that over time it would fade and it would look nasty. So you had to keep repainting it, which means you had to keep spending the money on that, which means people would know if your house was freshly painted green or that
'Cause it'd
room,
be clean.
because you have to pay that much money. So he was flexing, hey, I got this kind of dough. Watch me do this. That is so funny. And you're like, I mean, hey, to each his own. And that's kind of a
Right.
weird flex, but that's fine. So Mount
Yeah.
Vernon was really cool. The property was gorgeous. It kind of had some like old golf course feels to it.
Mhm.
Like some more European golf, where it's like you kind of felt like when you walk up the driveway, you kind of feel like you're about to go to the first tee.
Okay.
It had some like Scottish golf course vibes for whatever reason. So that was cool. I'm trying to think anything, and that's in Virginia. But I mean, it's really not that far of a drive from DC. All that stuff's pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Let me see here, because I don't think I'm missing anything else
For where you went.
massive.
Okay.
Okay, how about this? National Treasure, Philadelphia.
Ah.
When they run into that market, that is Reading Terminal. Okay, and it's a
Market. Oh,
massive
okay.
market, dude.
It's like right on the water.
Yeah.
Market.
It's not
Oh, not that part.
the water market. What's that?
The first
National Treasure.
Yeah, when he dives off the railing.
Oh, that's in New York
Oh.
at the aircraft carrier. He jumps off the aircraft carrier. Yeah.
Okay.
But, dude, did I go into that market and absolutely spend 15 minutes trying to find it and then found it? I found the place where she hides. I found the meat market. I took pictures. Dude, it's right there. It's literally there. For whatever reason, I just loved finding the place where I was like, dude.
Yep. I've seen this in a movie.
Okay. Sam, you want to know a movie fact?
Okay. I do.
Are you sure, though?
I am down.
I don't even think you're going to be ready for this. It is actually pretty nuts what kind of cool things are happening with this.
Mhm.
So, National Treasure, when they go to Liberty Hall,
Okay.
which is or Independence Hall, sorry.
Okay. Yep.
There is some shots from actually inside that building and that was the first ever allowed filming on the inside of that building. Ever. They never let people film in there until that movie. But dude, all the action scenes, everything else, there's another Independence Hall in California that is an exact replica of the building. Brick for brick.
And that's where they filmed the rest
That's where they filmed the rest of it because that building has no historical meaning. So they could damage stuff if they needed to. Which meant
he could actually pull the brick.
he could actually pull brick. I took pictures of that area from the ground. You couldn't actually go out on there.
Oh, okay.
But all the rooftop chases and stuff like that, that's all filmed in California on other replica buildings of the stuff that's there. But literally that building is in a 1-to-1 replica. They took it off of old drawings, like old schematics of the building. They took it off of like modern schematics of the building. They took it off pictures, stuff like that. They did an exact replica of the building, which means that all those rooms are either there or in California, but it's an exact replica. I did not know that. There's a second Independence Hall.
That is
somewhere else.
Really cool.
That is really cool.
It makes
Okay, so I'm trying to see here. So we went to the Supreme Court and the Capitol, Mount Vernon, Arlington National Cemetery. We went to some more memorials, National Archives, Pentagon Memorial, Smithsonian, World War II Memorial, Museum of the Bible. Oh, Gettysburg National Cemetery. We also went there. It's not very big. Oh, the Sound and Sight Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Sight and Sound. That was incredible. The stage, look it up. It's ridiculous. I can't even explain it, but it was awesome.
Okay.
Let's see here. We've got... Okay, so the National Constitution Center and Liberty Bell. The National Constitution Center, I believe, is where the Liberty Bell is. I believe that's the museum for that, if I remember correctly, but I don't actually remember that, so don't quote me on that. And that's all in Philadelphia. That is, I gave you the whole rundown of where it went. There you go.
Yeah. So how was the actual learning experience? I know you mentioned at like Mount Vernon, they had those actors for the different people.
We had a tour guide the whole time.
Okay.
That like, depending on what room you're in, you got to do tour guide.
Okay.
Our tour guide, Julie, awesome.
Okay.
So ACTS, which is American Christian Tours, they had, I guess, like 12 teams on the ground there in DC.
Oh.
So they're a big organization.
Okay.
They're taking a lot of people. Supposedly, we are like legitimately one of the best groups she's ever taken somewhere, which should be like we should be able to do that.
It's expected.
I would say the learning was pretty fantastic because there was some level of like she was giving us stories, and then in places we'd get actual tour guides, and then other places. So like the Capitol building,
Okay.
we had a great guy, he gave us a tour. In fact, if you look up the tours at the Capitol building, his picture is right there on like the place to press to go get your tour tickets.
Okay.
He's right there talking like in the picture, which is great. He's got red hair. He was great. He was really funny. Some of the other places though, it's way more like you just go look. But lots of stories while we're driving, stuff like that. I would say the learning. Oh, we also, dude, are you kidding me? We got to go to Fort McHenry. What? That was dope. We got to sing the national anthem underneath the American flag.
Nice.
So, or sorry, not the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner.
Star-Spangled
Sorry, my bad. We got to do that. And there's like a very small museum about that. Okay, also, sorry, the American History Museum. You know what that has? The American flag that was at Fort McHenry.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
pretty
original.
dope. It actually looks kind of weird, but it's pretty cool.
Right.
Now, Fort McHenry.
Because it had the circle of stars at that point, right?
No.
Oh.
Because the one at Fort McHenry that was flying had it had a certain amount of stars, but it wasn't in a circle.
Oh,
And it wasn't 50. It was a different
Right.
setup.
Could
I
I
think
still-
it's the 13 stars, but it's not on the circle. It's just put on there
okay.
randomly. Dude, it was made by a couple of chicks who, I mean, that's what flags were made. Like, flags were made like that. So it's kind of rough, but it's massive.
Mhm.
What was I saying? Fort McHenry. They fly 3 to 4 different kinds of flags, depending on the weather, because the weather can get really bad there.
Okay.
And if it's not windy enough, they can't fly their big flag. So
Right.
if it's windy enough, they fly a replica of that flag in size. It's a like 13 by 40 something feet. It's crazy. It's a massive flag. But anyways, we got to sing there. We got to do a little touring. You got to like go into some of the places, look at the cannons. That was great.
Mhm.
I will say the guy that was there talking to us about it, he took away too much of our time. We were there to explore. We did not think we were getting a tour of him telling us a story. He was great and we listened, but it was way too much.
Okay.
Especially since we had like just watched a movie on the inside of the building
So you kind of knew
about that. Yeah,
Okay.
but we made his day, and he basically cried when we sang the Star Spangled Banner.
Nice.
That was great. That was cool. Like we got to sing there. So the learning though was great. And lots of it is like you are picking up on the stuff that you already knew, but you actually like get to see it,
Right.
touch it.
I think that
potentially.
was, from what I can remember, that's basically what happened even in Europe when we went. Was like, okay, so now here's where, so like, okay, awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, Julie knew a lot. So she answered a lot of questions. She gave us different stories at different times, like good stories, but about things that happen at certain places or how people get to like Arlington National Cemetery or whatever. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Well, and I'm assuming because like some of the kids even had some presentations before the trip, and I think even some during the trip, probably.
I
For
don't
each place?
actually think we ever did any on the trip.
Oh, okay.
Our time we were being moved.
Okay.
We moved at a pretty
Didn't really
fast
have
pace.
time to do it. You could've
Yeah.
done it on the bus.
Well, Julie was lots of times telling us stuff on the bus.
On the bus, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it was great.
Okay. How were like the overall attitudes of the people that you were with?
Overall, really amazing, actually. Better in some cases, better than I actually probably expected. It's hard when you take a big group of people
Right.
anywhere.
Right. How
But
many
for-
people were on there? Like 30 at least?
50. Yeah, I think we had 4. I think we had 50 once we picked up Kara in DC.
Okay.
So I mean, lots of people. It was pretty easy to wrangle everybody, actually. In fact, the students were better at being where they needed to be on time than the adults, which that's not that surprising to some extent, but it has been really bad. So like Julie, AC, American Christian Tours has different kinds of standards for what they do at hotel rooms,
okay.
when people are checking out because they've had kids do crazy things. She dropped that standard the first day because she knew she didn't need to do that because all the kids were being super obedient, super helpful.
Like procedures for what you have to do when in the shoes. Okay.
So she started giving the leash a lot more slack. She started very aggressive, like but then it was like clear, oh, these people are following. Like these people are going to do what I asked them to do, which is great. So like, great job, students. That is very well done. I mean, we sang every day on the bus multiple times. Usually, Julie cried every time. And Ernest, our bus driver, he was great. He's from North Carolina. He's definitely got a accent. He was great. They clearly liked us, and I think that we could have done a horrible job.
Right.
We did a great job. So I think students, way to go. That was fantastic.
Okay. And I guess similarly, like how was the overall self-control, self-discipline? I guess that you.
I mean, yeah, I think it all kind of, it all kinds of. I mean, obviously, there's some like, hey, you need to be quiet, but
Right.
it pretty much nobody was like really having a problem with being on their phone or whatever. I mean, sure, sometimes kids would check out on the bus, but like most of the time,
Right.
people were pretty locked in, and that's great.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, would you do the trip again?
100%,
Was
dude.
it
I don't care if it's
worth it?
next week. I'm going again. If I had the dollars for that, I told Layla, I was like, you can never not do this again. This has to be part of the trip rotation because it's too good. It's too relevant of your history to not get it. And I told her, I was like, I think the first trip that you could be eligible for is this trip, and the next trip is the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because don't we switch them out every 3 years?
Nope.
Well, for just trips in general, like taking the trips, is it every 3 years, or is it?
it's like every 3, yeah, because that's like the cycle.
Because you could do
Classes.
every 3 years and then have East Coast, Europe, East Coast. So then you'll hit.
Yeah, they're trying to do like trips per age group. So
Okay.
have the ability to do an East Coast trip.
I feel like
You'd be eligible. So if you came into secondary in 7th grade, you'd be eligible for 2 trips. An East Coast trip at about 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. And then 10th, 11th, and 12th would be eligible for a UK trip because
that's what I would. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Like younger kids stay in America, older kids.
Well, because it's still great to get kids out of the country,
right.
specifically that far away. I think that's really cool. But and like for different people, obviously the UK trip might have been more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was more impactful to go. I've been to both now. It was more impactful to go to the American history because it's like that's my nation's history. I got to go to the Capitol building where decisions are being made for our country. Mm-hmm. The UK trip does not have the same kind of impactfulness. However, I think if you're older and you get to go on that trip, you understand a little bit more of the impactfulness of world history if you've gone on the American and you understand your nation's history a little better. Because, like, is the UK trip still some our history? Yes, but it's like basically everybody's history.
Right.
This is why, like, when you
the Romans,
when you go to those museums, it's everybody's stuff.
Right.
Because everybody came from over there. Like, Europeans, we are Europeans.
Yeah.
That have been generations removed from Europe.
Way down the line.
Way down the line. Like, yes, we are European people, technically. Mm-hmm. But, like, dude, do you have any idea how many people are actually European? It's a lot.
Yeah.
All of Canada. All of here. Now, you know, you go South American, there's people that were there before, like, that weren't necessarily there because of Columbus. Like, we found those people.
Yeah.
Hello, the Indians. I mean, they came up from because wasn't it?
There's a lot of speculation about that.
Yeah.
Land
Either way, yeah. I still think both trips are super impactful, but like you don't actually get to go to as many buildings that are still in use. Like you get to go to a bunch of castles that are just museums.
Right.
Like Blenheim Palace is not being used anymore for anything. It's a museum.
Right.
Edinburgh, the castle, is not being used.
Right.
It's all tourist attraction. And some of that, like when you go to Rome.
Like the one, I think the one we went to that was still being used was just the one just in the smack dab middle of London.
Oh, the two towers? Sorry, not the two towers, but the Tower of London?
Yes, yeah, Tower of London.
What is that being used for?
It's like crown jewels, I think.
Oh, that's right. But that's like the only thing.
I think that's the only thing.
Because like
and some other.
Because getting to Blenheim Palace would have been like getting to go to the White House. we didn't get to. We walked by it. We basically did the same thing. We were trying to get a White House tour, but with the time just
Yeah.
didn't really work out, that's okay. But yeah, I think they're both impactful, and I think at different times. So I think it's easier to take younger kids in places in America than it is to take younger kids into a place where like it's very unfamiliar.
They don't even have the same money.
Yeah, I think just a little more experience. That's
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Should teenage boy students who are like, oh, I just want to get out of school so I can go live my life, please? I just like, should they go on this trip?
I mean, I think everybody should go this trip if you can. I think so. I think for young men, getting to see battle sites. So that's actually one of my feedback pieces for Layla was you got to make the trip a little longer. And we got to go to more forts, stuff like that, because it's really good for young men to see war places. It's really good for guys to see cemeteries. Because guys are all about like, I'm gonna fight this guy. I'm gonna fight. But, like the consequences of fighting are heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, getting to go to some cemeteries in the UK and see some like those are some old names,
Right.
like that we know.
Well, then you go to the beaches and you're like,
Yeah.
just about anywhere you can go on the Normandy beaches, probably there was some fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Probably a guy who's dead right there.
and probably some brutal fighting too,
Yeah.
especially if you go to the main spots too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, going to the cemetery there is super impactful.
Mhm.
So I think that young men who are all about the let me get out, let me do this, let me fight the system, you need to understand what fighting gets you. Fighting can get you your freedom, and it's a sacrifice. So any kind of fighting is a sacrifice. Doesn't matter who you're fighting, what you're fighting. There's sacrifice. Now, if it's real war, there's more sacrifice probably that's coming from that. But yeah, I think the young men who are just let me get out of this don't have respect for a lot of things. And I think going to a place where you see the effects of people sacrificing their lives wakes you up a little bit.
Yeah.
It maybe softens you up. You might forget about it later, but it's at least a good in the moment thing for them to experience. And also, I mean,
Yeah. Some of the only like old American history stuff that I've seen was actually when I went to Clarksville to go visit Karen Ian,
Oh,
my,
nice.
my sister and brother-in-law. And it was one of the places was a Civil War fort, just kind of a small one that they had in Clarksville or right outside Clarksville. And it was for the Confederate side, so it was kind of interesting to see that. And they actually had like replica cannons set up in different spots.
nice.
It wasn't like an insane like wall set up kind of fort. It was just kind of like a nice position in the hills. Is kind of how it was kind of set. And like you could tell like okay, some places were definitely dug out and made and all that. It was just kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the other thing that we got to see in Gettysburg is when you drive through the town, the war was being fought in the town. And so there's one building in particular that the side of it has a bunch of, because it's a brick, has a bunch of chunks out of it that are clearly from musket balls.
Huh.
It's really cool. There are also, there's a bunch of fence that was built, like the cross fence
oh yeah.
by those guys that's being upkept. It's crazy. See how many miles of stretch that goes in different places. Like, it's really cool.
And the only other place I've been to was actually
Also, that's not the only place where the Civil War was fought. So, like, the other thing is, like, there's a lot more of America that you could go and see stuff like that.
yeah. It's just not the same like kind of thing.
Gettysburg was pretty important, though.
Because like sure, the fort I went to, there was a little bit of fighting. I think the Union took it and then the Confederates took it back. But like it's not even close to the same scale as like just about anywhere else you could go. But the only other place I've been to was Andrew Jackson's Hermitage in Hermitage. It's called Hermitage, Tennessee, I think is the town.
Nate Bargatze, he talks about that he would tell people, yeah, it's where Andrew Jackson's from. And they're like, well, you know, he wasn't a very good person. And he's like, I mean, we didn't know him or anything. Like, we weren't friends. It's just funny because it's like, yeah, I mean, we didn't know him. So why would we care?
Right. But I mean, it was kind of cool to see like the house, and it's a decent sized house, and decent sized grounds too. It's spread out, kind of like Mount Vernon. How you said the stuff is outside the house. It was like that. And I mean, whatever. It's different though.
Yeah.
And so like I mean, So for the last section, before we wrap up here, for those looking to go on a trip like this, what advice do you have for number one, making the most out of it? Number two, not being a drag or an inconvenience. And number three, what places you wish you could have gone in addition?
Sure. So in terms of, I missed what's the first part
The first
again?
one, making the most out of it.
Making the most out of it. Yeah. Making the most out of it is pay attention. And ask questions if you have questions.
Mhm.
Maybe even try to come up with some questions. But yeah, definitely be present in the moment, asking questions, and mostly just listen. Like listen, pay attention, read the stuff, take pictures. Like be a good tourist.
And like,
To being a tourist is not a problem, but be a good tourist. So like
Mhm.
actually try to, I think one of the things that helps make the most out of it is like try to imagine what this means to the people that live there or did live there. So like that's the harder thing I think about going to the UK as opposed to the American history. Well, what does it mean to you? This is your nation. What does it mean to you? What is the Capitol building was my favorite place we went because that means something to me because that's where our officials are. If we went to Parliament, I've been like,
Cool.
yeah, I don't care. But
these are the people who started this war.
exactly, these are the people that suck. No,
That's pretty funny.
I think it's harder to wrap your mind around that, and it's harder to get a. Here's what it means to these people. So that's why I think moving back in the age range for those people to be able to go on the trip because they might be able to have a little bit better of a chance of doing that. Try to imagine what does this mean to the people that live there and care about their country. Well, the places like the Two Towers, the Crown Jewels, that means a lot to somebody else. That's like our Declaration of Independence. Their crown jewels are very important.
Right.
So, like, having some reverence for that, I think, is really important. And looking for the sacrifice. And on an East Coast trip, you're going to see a lot of places that have a lot of sacrifice. So, like, we went to the Vietnam. I keep forgetting about these other memorials. We went to the Vietnam Memorial. We went to the Pearl Harbor Memorial. I have some great pictures of the Pearl Harbor Memorial. I actually felt like my photography was pretty good this trip.
Okay.
The other cool thing, if you just go to DC and you just hang out at the Washington Mall for like 8 days, I don't care. That'd be a great trip. Just wait. There's so many planes that are flying back and forth. And there's a bunch of American Airlines because American Airlines with the Reagan Airport that's there.
Okay.
That airport almost predominantly flies American. So there's a bunch of gray planes that fly across with the American flag like on the back of the wing.
Yeah.
The pictures you could get of them flying by the Washington Monument or through some cherry blossoms. Incredible. It's a great place for photography. Okay, so make the most of it. You got that.
Yeah.
How to not be a drag.
Yeah.
Also, be a good tourist. So like if you have a tour guide, do what your tour guide asks you to do. Try to be on places on time. Don't make a mess. Travel light as you can. I mean, if you have less stuff, you're a little more mobile. So like honestly, as we went, you're like, okay, I didn't need to bring this, didn't need to bring this, didn't need to bring this. I had to pack a little heavier because we were not flying back that same day. We were going back to Ohio. So we drove 8 hours. That was fun. I really think just be a nice person. Like that is be a Christian, act like a Christian. It's really, that goes a long way. Julie was really thankful that we acted like that. I mean, we said thank you and good morning to Ernest every time we got on the bus and every time we got off. Like,
how many times can a bus driver say that happens?
Probably not very often because a lot of kids are just getting on talking to their friends. Like every time people were getting on, it was morning Ernest, morning Ernest, morning Ernest. Talk to him for a little bit, shake his hand, whatever. Like he clearly felt loved, and he probably doesn't get that a lot because he drives a lot for them. So, like he's busy and he's getting a lot of people, and he's not getting that kind of interaction most of the time. Right. Julie also clearly was not getting the kind of interaction or hearing us sing or stuff like that. So like, be nice. We got presents for them and cards for them before we left, and they were like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
So I think build a relationship. If you're with a tour guide, build a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. I think we all, as a group, made a relationship with Julie that she's not going to forget. I mean, she was sad when we were all leaving. I mean, she was also tired. Like
Yeah.
It's a lot to manage that amount of people, but also like we made it pretty easy, and I think she misses us legitimately. So, she lives in Florida, so
Okay.
like she flies up, they fly her up, and then she goes back down there when she's done. So, but yeah, it was great. So that's how you not be a drag is don't be a drag. Don't be dumb. And then
Yeah, what places you wish you could have gone in addition? Just, I mean, you did kind of say like more war zones, more.
I think the White House, in terms of a location, that is the one location I really wish we could have gone inside of.
Okay.
Just in terms of like how cool it is, like the White House.
Mhm.
I think what actually would have been kind of cool, we drove right by and walked by actually the FBI building. I guess that would have kind of been cool. It's more like cool stuff, but the White House, that would be a big one. I actually was kind of thinking, I was like, because I was falling more in love with George Washington as we were going. I was like, dude, it would have been great to go to Valley Forge.
Right.
And there's also another fort on the other side of I believe it's the Potomac.
Okay.
When you're on your way to Mount Vernon, I was looking out across the water and I was like, that is a huge house. What is that? Is that a big property? You know what? It's Fort Washington. And it's pretty cool. So it would have been cool to go to some more forts, I think, or some more fighting places. Museum, I think, particularly we got a bigger group of guys. Museums are great.
Right.
And also some guys like you probably prefer more museum than I would like to stomach in a day. But
Maybe.
there are some museums that I was like, I'd love to be here longer. But getting guys some more outdoor time, so like just more a little more walking, like in the grass, stuff like that. I think that'd be cool. But also, to some extent, if you just make it a longer trip and just hit the same places, you could spend more time there. So there's cost benefit, and I actually think this trip was paced well, and I don't actually know if we need to go anywhere else other than the White House. Legitimately, that would have been. It's such a good trip. I can't recommend it enough. It was great.
Yeah, nice.
So basically, get in contact with American Christian Tourists because they do stuff not just for schools. They do like it is a Christian-based tour. That's the point. Is that not that they only take Christian schools. Lots of times they do, but like they'll take older groups of people. It's like I'm sure you can get in contact with them and set something up. But and it's great because like the other thing, like staying in the UK, we stay in hostels, which works, but it's not very fun. I mean, it's fun once you accept your fate. Communal showers, like communal bathroom, stuff like that. We got to stay in Holiday Inn Expresses, so we had showers in our rooms.
Oh, nice.
I got to stay with my wife in our room.
Nice.
And we paid a little extra, like to be able to have just a double room. But like, that was worth it to have your own bathroom and your own shower and your own bed, and like that was pretty. We had air conditioning.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's huge. That's really huge. We got to play in the pool at 2 different places. Okay, Gettysburg. Just real quick. This is a weirdly very long episode. I don't know. It's because I'm excited about it.
That's fine.
Yeah. There's a place in Gettysburg that used to be an old teddy bear factory that we had dinner at. And you're like, what? What does that mean? Because in that teddy bear factory, it's been completely redone. It's a resort, but they have a huge buffet. Buffet is amazing. Great food, great views. We got there a little late in the evening, and where we were seated, there was a whole other room with way better views that nobody was in. I don't know why we didn't get put in that room. It's okay. You can still see a little bit, but like it was gorgeous. Looking out over Gettysburg to some extent.
Okay.
Fantastic. Like me and Basin want to go back there and just stay there at some point. Because, dude, Gettysburg has a thing where you can ride your horse or you can rent horses. You can go out it and ride around.
Oh, man.
So we were like, well, why would we not do that?
You should just bring you should bring some old style outfits so you can
Yeah.
look the part.
That's right. So like you can either like rent horses, like do that thing, or you can bring your horses. So like if you had horses
Mhm.
and you were willing to transport them all the way there, you could. Like, dude, that's going to happen.
That's pretty
But that place was great. We also did go. We were in Pennsylvania for the Sight and Sound, so we basically just drove there. And on the way, I mean, it's Amish country, so we got to see some Amish people. I've seen Amish people though because I've gone to Ohio quite a few times.
Yeah.
But that was cool. We went to another buffet there. That was not as good. Wouldn't recommend that place as much. But Pennsylvania is pretty. Almost, shout out Henry Callender. Almost got to see our boy, but he had finals, and so he didn't drive up to meet us. I was like, you know what? That's probably fair. He was like, yeah, I have a giant finals paper due on Monday that you bet I'm procrastinating on. I was like, well, yeah, you should probably finish that and not come meet us. But
Yeah. He's engaged now, isn't he, too?
he is engaged. Shout out to Henry. You know what? Let's get some cheering for Henry, because that is way to go, man. Welcome to the big stage. Which just leaves, and then there was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Anyways, what's the next segment? Now that we're
Dad
over an
advice
hour.
dad advice and closing thoughts.
All right, so Sam, I'll ask you a question. What's your dad advice?
My dad advice is take your kids places. Hikes, sights to see, even if it's just very local. Like there are some actually kind of crazy things you can find in just about anywhere you go. Like the Seattle Zoo or the Woodland Park Zoo.
Well, you did promise that you'd take me to the Central Park Zoo. That's from Home Alone 2.
Oh.
When he's like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, well, you did say we could go to the Central Park Zoo. He's like, really?
Yeah, so I mean, get out there with your kids. There's lots of stuff to see, lots of stuff to learn too. I mean, it's actually decently easy. I mean, you just got to schedule out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's great dad advice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Especially if you're in the Washington area, there's lots of great hikes you can go on. Lots of great hikes.
Okay, travel tip. If you're from Washington, good luck. Because, like, when we landed in Washington, D.C., basically anywhere I've gone, I've always been like, I still feel like I'm at home. And you know why? Because Washington is so diverse in terms of landscape. It doesn't matter. 3 hours, give it 4 hours. 4 hours, any direction.
You'll hit
You have a
lot.
different landscape. You have mountains, you have rainforest, you have ocean that's not very good beach. Then you go further down, you have ocean with like basically very nice beach.
nice beach.
You go to the east, you have the mountains. Then you go over the mountains, you have desert. But you also go up, you have tundra. What? It doesn't make any sense. Like when you land in somewhere like Washington, D.C., and you see cherry blossoms, you're like, are we in Seattle? Because like Seattle has cherry blossoms.
Oh, yeah.
Now there is a distinct amount of less like evergreens.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere you go, there's a distinct lack of that. I mean, Oregon and like Northern California is very similar. Like that drive, you feel like you're in the same spot the whole time.
Right.
Once you get on the other side of the mountains, for like all of the middle of America, I mean, if you're driving to Ohio from Washington, you can get into Idaho, you can be like, okay, you start to lose some trees. You get in Montana, there's nothing. It's just hills. You keep going down to North Dakota and South Dakota, it's kind of the same. You get into Wisconsin, you're getting closer to some more like agriculture. You get to Ohio. Ohio is weirdly similar in some regards to parts of Washington. Like when you go out into Arlington and you go like on 530 and you see that farmland, Ohio is similar to that. It's a little more hilly, but like we have places like that in Eastern Washington. But Ohio actually has a decent amount of trees. The one thing you're going to notice though is all those places have a lot more deciduous trees. So that's the part where it feels a little bit off. So like DC has deciduous trees, not really any. Like there are evergreens in downtown Seattle, not actually downtown Seattle, but like around the area. So it is different, but try to continually remember you are not at home. Like when we got to the UK, when we were flying in, it was daytime. We could see. I was like, that looks like home. The one thing, all those places, the trees are older. So some of those deciduous trees are like, this has been here for like a long time, and you can see that it's aged.
Mhm.
So that adds some historical value to the place. I feel like is some of the nature is like this has been here for a long time.
Mhm.
There's actually a thing at the Gettysburg Museum. It's part of a tree that has musket balls in it.
Oh,
So they had like found it and it had like a decent amount of them in it, and it's in like a glass case.
that's fun.
That's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I think that just about does it
Yeah.
for the show. In terms of announcements, these are ones that have already been made, but YouTube channel still going. So this episode, you'll find it on YouTube. We're also on a few more platforms, so like Apple Podcasts, and we seem to be getting a lot more listens. So when we were just hosting on Spotify, which is okay, we did not have a lot of listens. We've had way more plays as of late, like exponentially. Powers of 10. More listens. So that's fantastic. Thank you guys for listening. That's awesome. But yeah, go check us out on YouTube, and so we'd love to be able to turn this into a thing that we can make money off of. But truthfully, the only way that happens is if the algorithm thinks that more people want to see it. And so you got to subscribe and you got to like, you have to interact with the stuff. That's the only way. So in principle, before T-Rex Arms went absolutely nuts in terms of family drama, one of the things that they talked a lot about is like, how are you going to support people? And if you want to support businesses, and if they have content channels, you got to go like and subscribe and interact with their stuff and then you got to buy their products. And we don't have products currently. We want to have merch at some point. We will. That was not an announcement. That's not coming yet. It will at some point.
Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. But like legitimately, if you want to see this continue to grow and get bigger and better production, like we want to make it bigger, but investing in that costs some money and you need a little money along the way to get that going before it turns into a real viable thing. We don't want to make it our living, but we do want to have it be supplementary to whatever else we're building. And we need your guys' help with that. So thank you already for those who are listening. Keep interacting with our stuff, and we'll keep trying to give you content to interact with. That's on us if we don't give you for 2 weeks.
And if you don't like the content, like comment on it and like tell us how we can change up some stuff.
Because secretly that's still interacting with it. If you don't want to support us, don't watch us, because that's also interacting with it to some extent.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. So yeah, the YouTube channel, and we haven't gotten any feedback yet, but we'd love feedback on what business you might want to see from Choice Men. We getting closer to some ideas that we might be able to talk about at some point. Probably not within the next couple months, but at some point. Yeah, let us know. What problems do you want solved by the Choice Men? And what kind of merch is your guys' favorite merch? Stickers,
Hoodies,
hats, hoodies.
Are you a person
jackets, blazers? That'd be dope. Choice Men blazers. That'd be crazy.
Are you a person that puts patches on bags?
Dude, actually, probably that's what we should do first is patches. That'd be legit.
We should have like Velcro back ones.
Yeah.
Because those are the best. I mean,
you know what I did find?
Sticky back ones are fine, but
I found Rickroll QR code patches.
Really?
I'm getting those and I'm putting them on our diaper bags.
That is hilarious. It's
Yeah.
like scan this to learn how to change a diaper.
It's just Rickroll. That would be crazy. So yeah, YouTube channel. Tell us what kind of businesses you want from us. Tell us what kind of merch is your guys' go-to. And we won't do anything with those things. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
Peace, man. Choice Man signing out.